Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be another episode of Thrift Store Makeovers where I will be giving a makeover to this giant thing. As you can see, it is very messed up. It used to have some type of paper over it, and I'm hoping to finish getting rid of all of this sticky papery residue. And so I'm using some Goo Gone, which I was hoping would help clean it up. And then afterwards I use some sandpaper to sand it, and I use this flat white primer to try to give it a white base coat onto it, and I gave it a few sprays. But as you can see, it's still kind of rough in some areas. I probably should have used like a machine sander or something, but I kind of just decided to leave it as it was. It started by adding another base coat of white onto the whole surface, and I sketched out my design, and I was wanting to paint 3 different flags: the El Salvador flag, the Progressive Pride flag, and the Puerto Rico flag. And so I sketched out the lines for each of the flags and started painting. My idea was kind of to just paint the bigger portions of each of the flags and then kind of work my way to the smaller details of the flags. So I started with the dark blue on the El Salvador flag, and then the blue triangle in the Puerto Rico flag. And then I also did the dark blue in the rainbow portion of the pride flag. And once I got a couple of coats of the blue in, I decided to go into the red portion. And I will just say this red was a massive struggle for me. I think I had to do close to like 7 or 8 coats of red overall just to get a solid-ish kind of color on it. And once again, I seem to be forgetting what masking tape is, and I never use it when I'm painting, which I really should, especially for something like this, where the goal is to have nice clean lines. But I just didn't decide to tape anything up and decided to just freehand everything. And so the lines aren't that straight in this painting. And I would say almost every part of this painting process took at least 2 to 3 coats, except for the red, that took about like 5 or 8. But this is kind of how it's looking like now. I've made a lot of progress. And I'm finally starting on the triangle portion of the Progressive Pride flag. So at this point, I got all the major stuff done. I just needed to do the star on the Puerto Rico flag and the little symbol on the El Salvador flag, which I was dreading the most, to be honest. And for this whole painting process, I decided to use acrylic paint because I felt that would work best on the wood. But then when it came down to the star, I ended up just using fabric paint and just made kind of a 3D star. And here I have the image of the symbol of El Salvador, the little insignia that I'm going to hopefully try to paint. My biggest problem were obviously the words. This space that I had to draw this insignia was too small to actually write all of those words in there, so instead I decided to just do a yellow circle to kind of represent those words. And I kind of had to pick and choose what details I would choose to put on this painting because of the small space. And I kind of just tried my best to fit in as many of the details that I could, including the little hat, and probably the tiniest rainbow I've ever done in my life. afterwards, when that was dried, I did put my initials and the dates on the back part of this picture frame, I guess. And this is how it looked overall once it was completely finished, before I did any sealing or any kind of glossy finish to it. I'm using the semi-gloss clear spray finisher and protectant. Along with this acrylic sealer, which has more of a glossy finish over top of everything. I just sprayed that outside and waited for it to dry, and this is how it finally turned out once it was dry. Overall, this took a very long amount of time to do, and some aspects were more difficult than others, and it's nowhere near perfect, but I am very personally happy with how it turned out. I personally really love how it turned out. This piece means a lot to me as it represents 3 different parts of my life and of who I am, of me being Puerto Rican and Salvadorian, and I'm just really happy to have it. And as you can see, with the help of my dad, I was able to hang it up above the closet in my room, and I'm just overall very happy with how it turned out. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching.